Hi everyone, welcome to today's wellness session. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. In today's session, we're going to continue our conversation about prevention and share some steps that adults can take to keep children safe. Today I have here with me Nathan Stevens from the Pataula Center for Children. Nathan, would you share with us what you do for the Pataula Center for Children?
Absolutely. Thank you, Lorie. I'm glad to be here. My name is Nathan. I work for the Pataula Center for Children, and in that capacity, I have several roles I take, but the big one I undertake is our Outreach and Awareness Director. What that means is I try to get out and about in the community to raise awareness regarding child abuse, steps adults can take to prevent child abuse, and things that we can do to keep our kids safe in the community. I have the privilege of working with a lot of people in various communities, and it's always good to be out talking about things to help keep our community and our kids safe.
Thank you. In the Early County school system, at the primary level of prevention, all staff receive Stewards of Children Child Abuse Prevention training. And all students in the kindergarten through 9th grade receive Child Help Speak Up, Be Safe, which is the curriculum we discussed in our April 6th session. Today, Nathan's going to share some information from the Stewards of Children training. Nathan, can you tell us about the Stewards of Children training?
I'd be happy to, Lorie. The Stewards of Children training is some of the most prominent child sexual abuse training a community and organization can go through. They break down their training into 5 basic steps that, as we learn these steps, we take steps closer to keeping our community safe, our kids safe. The first step is learn the facts. And learning the facts, I'll be honest, when I went through the training, that blew my mind. You know, I knew that child sexual abuse was was an issue, but I didn't realize just how prominent of an issue it is. And when you start to realize that 1 in 10 kids have been sexually abused before they turn 18, you realize you're dealing with a large number of kids. The second step they talk about is minimizing opportunity. And minimizing opportunity simply states that we're going to work to make sure that teachers, staff, adults are not put in one-on-one situations with kids.
Sure.
Because that's where most of your abuse is going to take place, in that one-on-one isolated incident. And when we realize that perpetrators of this abuse work to create those incidents and those isolated situations, if we can take that away, we're kind of cutting the problem off at the knees.
That makes sense.
The third step is talk about it, and I'll be honest, that's something that we're not always great at, is talking about things that are unpopular. I was talking to my wife last night, and if I were to put a Facebook page up about adopting puppies, I'd have lots of likes, lots of comments. You start talking about child sexual abuse, and it's a very hard topic to talk about, but it's one we definitely have to have conversations about with our kids, and it's probably one of the biggest things we can do to keep our kids safe, because as we build those lines of communication, they know they can come to us with concerns and questions, and those lines are already established and already built.
Sure.
And then recognize the signs. As we get good at recognizing, what child sexual abuse looks like and what some of the signs may be, then we can go through and we can say, okay, that child's not behaving in a typical fashion for that child. Maybe you have a child that's very, very outgoing and very precocious and very just much the center of attention, and then you start seeing that they're withdrawn and quiet, and
Sure.
That's not typical behavior. That needs to be a red flag that we address. Mm-hmm. And then the last step is react responsibly. And if I said that minimize opportunity and talk about it were some of the most important steps, this one, react responsibly, goes right up there with them. Children are very good at reading adult behavior and adult mindsets and mannerisms. And if they don't believe that they can open up to us, then we're going to handle their disclosure in an appropriate manner, they're not going to disclose to us. So react responsibly, believe the child, support the child. And I do feel compelled to put this in here. We hear a lot at the Pataula Center for Children that people think that kids make up these allegations. And I'm just going to put this out there. According to the statistics, after all the investigations are conducted, less than 5% of child disclosures prove to be false. So we're talking the vast majority of these disclosures are true and factual. We need to be believing our children.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that information with us. Who would benefit from receiving the full Stewards of Children training?
Any youth-serving organization. I strongly recommend it for school systems. I strongly recommend it for our churches, and I emphasize that word strongly because churches tend to be some of the organizations that feel like they don't need the training, but they definitely need the training. They have kids coming in, they need the training. And then any rec league, anything like that, anyone that's going to be working with kids, I strongly recommend this training for. The training is about 2 hours. It's a video-based training, and it's discussion, facilitation, things like that.
Okay.
And I conduct the training for the Early County area, so I'd be more than happy to work with any organization that feels like this training could benefit them.
And if they do feel like that, how could they get a training set up or get more information?
They can always contact me at the Pataula Center for Children. And I'll be more than happy to talk to them about setting it up. I just schedule with them, and then we can do it one of two ways. Everybody knows that COVID is still kind of lingering. We can do it virtually through Zoom if they prefer that.
Okay.
I'm old school. I like to be face-to-face and in person. We can do that. Whatever works best for their organization and their needs.
Great, thank you. And is there a number that we can share for the video?
Yes, you can contact the center at 850-691-8027. That is my direct number. It comes right to me. You can also email me at earlycac8@yahoo.com. And that's my email address, and I'll be happy to respond and set up training accordingly.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you.
At the secondary level of prevention, the Early County School System trains all staff in mandated reporting annually. In our last session, April 20th, we talked in depth about mandated reporting and how to make a report. At the third level of prevention, at this level, this is when you've been made aware that a child has experienced abuse and it's already been reported, but at this time we want to make sure that there are supports in place for the child to receive treatment. This could include counseling, some partnerships that the school system has with community agencies. We are partnered with Aspire Behavioral Health. They have offices in all of our school buildings and a therapist designated just to serve our students that are enrolled in Aspire Behavioral Health. We also have a contract with United Behavioral Health Solutions, who provide psychiatric services virtually. We know from the statistics that have been shared that sexual abuse and child abuse does happen. However, we also know that recovery is real.
Lorie, thank you for mentioning that, because that is one of my favorite parts of the Stewards of Children training. At the very end of the last video clip, they will actually share stories of people that have been victims of sexual abuse as children, and they'll talk about things, how they overcame it. And we know with the proper supports, recovery is very real. So thank you for bringing that out.
Absolutely. So there is hope, and I just want to remind you that it's an adult's responsibility to keep children safe. If you have any questions about anything that we've discussed in today's session, or if you would like to schedule a training or get more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Pataula Center for Children. Thank you for joining today's session, and I hope you'll stay tuned for our upcoming sessions.